Hey Bryce, this weekend I've been playing Paper Mario Origami King and it's just fantastic, and I've actually taken up origami. Do you mind if I fold you into something quite nice?
All right, mate. You can test your skills down on me. Let's go.
Oh, thanks, man. Ta-da! You are a beautiful swan.
Oh, it's magnificent. I feel those wings upon my breast.
Ooh. Oh, do one of me, man.
All right. Mate, I have turned you into a beautiful sunflower.
Oh, God, I'm beautiful.
Delicious.
Oh, let me do another one on you. You're now a beautiful little puppy dog. Aren't you cute?
I thought it was a bit strange. I had a penchant for bones right about now. All right, mate. I'm going to try one more on you.
All right, go ahead.
Shit. Oh, shit. I'm sorry, mate.
Oh, my leg. You've ripped off my leg.
Oh, my God.
Oh.
Do we take you to friggin' medical for this?
Oh, yes. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, the South Australian Nintendo podcast that is backed by 120 Power Star rating. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and the doors to episode 151 are open. This week on the show, we're going to be talking about our week end with Super Mario Origami King. Well, Paper Mario Origami King. I just buggered that up. A surprise mini Nintendo Direct, and Reggie's new position at Rogue Games. And to discuss all of that is my co-host, Bryce DeWitt. How you going, mate?
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm good.
Just doing a jig here.
Yeah, you're doing a jig that no one can see except for me. So this is like my own personal little,
it's great, isn't
little
it?
show. It's quite wonderful.
Yeah, you don't even have to pay.
Oh.
Yeah, just like the podcast, which is great.
Yeah, well, yeah, true. Wink, wink, says Bryce.
Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Press the play button, like and subscribe.
Do a backflip. Eat a chowder.
Yeah, you know, just the general thing. What everybody does. Backflipping while eating chowder.
You got it sometimes. Yeah. So, Bryce.
Tasty, mate.
How have you been this week, man? What's been going on?
Yeah, you know, just busy.
Busy? Cool.
Busy. Very busy. Yeah. You know, with Paper Mario being out and then work and then, you know, the general. Yeah.
Well, it's been actually a quite good weekend being able to get into a new Nintendo game. It's been quite a while since Animal Crossing where we've got a pretty major Nintendo release. So that's quite good.
Yeah. And that was back, March?
Yeah.
20. Yeah. Long time ago.
Been a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What are we on? July, so 4 months ago. Yeah.
We're just coming to the sudden realization right now. Holy shit, it's been that long.
Well, yeah, because I mean, I was thinking about it today. I'm like, holy crap, this year has gone by so fast thanks to COVID and all that crap. Like, we've just been through a major economic crisis with bushfires, and now we're riddled with disease. So, yeah,
it's just flown by really quick.
It has. It's been a disastrous 2020. Everybody was like, 2020 is going to be my year. It's not anybody's year this year.
Wow.
No way in hell. Except for maybe major companies making a profit off of masks, I guess. And sanitizer, you know. I remember there was one company in Australia, it was like a gin distillery.
Yeah.
They were trying to make a profit off making hand sanitizer, but they were doing it unlawfully.
Right.
Yeah, because it wasn't like hospital grade, like the right percentage of alcohol or anything like that.
They just took the pure alcohol from the silo and said, ship it without actually making it into gin. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and they got in a lot of shit for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't making a profit off their gin, so they tried to make sanitizer instead and did it wrong.
You got to do what you got to do.
Oh, well, it was pretty stupid of them to do it, to be completely honest. So, yeah. Got them in a lot of shit.
Yeah, I'm not a big gin fan, but at the pub I work at, they got a gin bar and they actually got in like a mulberry flavour, and it's actually quite nice. So,
have you tried any of the Shiraz ones?
No, I haven't.
I don't understand.
Shiraz gin.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand why they make wine barrel anything. They do it with whiskies as well. I don't really get it. I have no idea why they do it. They put them in like already used wine barrels, give them a bit of a soak up of the oak and the Shiraz, you know, type of thing. I'll never understand it.
Right.
Makes no sense. I don't know, like, if I'm going to drink wine, I might as well drink wine. I don't want wine-tinged out, like, spirits. Kind of strange to me.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're just here drinking our furphy, so we we don't venture into our Shiraz gin too often here at the House of Mario. But
I'll pass on that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. So before we jump into sort of our first impressions, or I guess the first weekend with Paper Mario Origami King, I want to bring up a new iTunes review we got. And this is from Metadocs, who is a long-running, good, awesome friend of the show. So thank you very much. And it's a 5-star review, and the title is Certificate. It's a bit creative, so strap in. So the review reads, League trainers Drew and Bryce, we hereby certify your achievement of completing 150 episodes of The House of Mario. May this accomplishment be celebrated by all. And visit our headquarters in Sirchester to receive your ratings charm. So a bit of a nod to Generation 5 of Pokemon there, which is as we know, is his favourite Pokemon game, his first Pokemon game. So thank you very much to Metadocs for leaving us an iTunes review or Apple Podcast review.
I have a question.
Yes.
If the ratings charm is double the chance of ratings, does that mean we'll be getting more ratings?
Maybe it does. Like, I know it's only like the shiny charm and the mark charm in Pokemon Sword and Shield. It ups it a little bit. It adds I think two, so it's 3 instead of 1 chance out of whatever the percentage is. So, there'll be a bit more. Hopefully we get a few more Apple Podcast reviews because of that.
All right, yeah.
We have to go and get it, though. We haven't got it yet.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
We haven't gone to Sirchester to go and get it yet.
Beautiful.
So, yeah. So leaving an Apple Podcast review really helps out the show, helps us chart in different territories. Last week we charted in Great Britain, and also since then we've charted in Mexico.
Ooh.
So that's pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And just going off of episode 150, I just want to thank everybody that listened to the show and tuned in live. It was a great fun to do, even though during the show I got stressed out because I spilt some stuff on, spilt my drink on my expensive gear, which
yes, you did.
Which holy shit gave me a heart attack.
Oh, it would have gave me a heart attack.
Because like in my headphones just like went mute as soon as it spilt. I'm like, oh my God, I've fried it.
Yeah.
But what I did, like afterwards, I turned it off, turned it back on, and it was all fine again.
Yeah.
And I actually had a look around the unit, and it was just like a bit of sticky on it. None of it got into like the crevices for the dials or anything. So
very lucky.
Yeah, you can sort of see here that like nothing can really get in there. Really, because it's just got like the plastic slip there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As Bryce can see, no one can see down here, but yeah, very very thankful for that. And I just want to put it out there that sort of over the last 3 years, doing the show has just been so much fun, and it's been one of our big passions since starting. Like, it's something we're really excited to push forward, and I feel like over the past 3 years, getting the artwork to where it needs to be and getting the audio quality to where it needs to be and everything, it really is a product now that I'm quite proud of. And
yeah.
I know that we will never stop learning, we'll never stop improving as podcasters, but where we are now, I feel quite happy with it is.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I mean, it has been 3 years of learning.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, we started from literally nothing. A lot of podcasts, they start off after maybe having a successful YouTube channel, or they partner with the ABC and the ABC pushes them, or like, there's just multiple avenues to sort of grow in the podcast community. But I guess we sort of done it, like this was our first time really getting into anything like this and sticking with it, 150 episodes. I know it sounds weird, but I'm really proud of myself.
From starting from the bottom, we've done, I'd like to think we've done a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that start podcasts. Not all of them get to where, they are now.
Mm.
So to say we're at 150 episodes, that's crowning achievement.
Yeah.
And it's only, by the time we get to 500, like
500, all right.
we get to 500.
Let's think about 200.
No, just wait. If we get to 500, like, just think about that. Think about like when we started the show, and it was like all the way back 3 years ago, like now.
Mm.
And we started off with an iPad and Blue Snowball.
Yeah.
And like now we have the Rode. We've got a MacBook for recording. We've got 2 beautiful microphones. And we have audience that we love.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a huge step up from where we started.
Yeah, absolutely. And in saying that, like, I guess how, proud we are of sort of how far we've come. I guess in the last year, so like since we started, we were gradually growing, like gaining people as we go. But in the last sort of year, I guess that sort of growth has really become quite stagnant. And I'm going to share with you guys some of our stats for the podcast, because I know like stats for podcasts can be quite like a taboo. It's kind of treated like someone's bank account. You don't go around saying how much money you got in your bank account because it's just like personal information. And it is kind of weird that podcasts are treated like that, because like on other platforms like YouTube and that, the stats are right there. You can go to someone's video and go, oh yeah, he's got 2,000 likes or whatever. That's fantastic, whatever.
Yeah.
But with podcasts, it's a bit different. So for the most recent episode, 150, let me just get the updated version. So we got 147 downloads on episode 150. And we're getting sort of a comparable, I guess, downloads since, I guess, like about a year ago. And it really does come down to, when it comes to growing a podcast, it comes down to like, all right, I'm going to share this on Twitter, I'm going to share it on Facebook, and through sharing it in different groups and that, we've gained followers, like even our really prominent ones like Jamie Penning and Sam Hay and all of that. Like they came through Nintendo Voice Chat Facebook forums. I shared it in there, and they come through there. But there's only so much sharing I can do. Like I can't go around sharing it everywhere. Every single person's like, oh, I'm looking for a podcast. Oh, here's our podcast. Like I'm really not that good at promoting my own stuff. I don't really enjoy it. I enjoy doing the actual podcast, but when it comes to social media, I'd rather just keep away. And I guess for like the last year, apart from updating Twitter most of the time, and every now and again when I think about Facebook, I put it there. But apart from that, I really haven't done it. So I guess I'm sort of putting a call out to you guys, the housemates, who really do enjoy our podcast, who see value in it for other people. Just if you have the time or the means, just go and share it. Share it in a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people out there at the moment who are looking for Nintendo content. There are a lot of people out there who are stuck inside, who are, just hungry for Nintendo content because, the games aren't coming out that regularly at the moment. So yeah, I've gotten a few messages recently like, I'm always looking for another Nintendo podcast and all that type of thing. And we're here ready for ears to consume us pretty much.
That's right. Yeah.
So if anyone out there can do that for us, that would be absolutely amazing. I don't want to be too preachy and too asky, but it's I feel like now with the small audience we've got, that is how we're going to grow. It's not going to be me just posting on Facebook all the time.
Yeah.
Because
and look at when Daniel shared us.
Absolutely.
In Denmark, like that has grown into like its own exponential thing.
Yeah, and that's what kind of made me think about this. Like, he put in a Facebook group, and we got at least 5 reviews from that, let alone the people that just decided to listen and not leave a review, for example. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's grown.
Yeah. And Denmark is our 5th most listened country, and it's approaching 5% of our listener base in Denmark. And it was below 1% before.
That's crazy.
So it shows you how much of a difference it can make to us in the show.
Yeah.
And this is gonna help us grow. It's gonna help us, do more streams, do more. We've got more evergreen Nintendo content in the works, videos, merch. We've got like all this stuff in our head we want to do, and just growing the show will just help us do that.
That's right. Yeah. I don't want to say it gives us motivation more or less, than it gives us a reason to do it. Like we could go on just doing the podcast as it is for the end of time, for what it's worth, because that's what we enjoy doing. But if the demand comes up for it, we would love to do merch or, whatever have you. And I'm sure, we could do all sorts of cool things. I got people who would like to design stuff for merch. That includes myself and friends, and we'd like to be able to sell that kind of thing and sort of just progress the podcast, if anything.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we're ever like bound to make, millions of dollars or something off of this, but like I would love to like.
It's not even about money or making it that.
It's not.
just especially like the last episode 149 where we really like went into discussions about making the Nintendo community better.
Yeah.
And it just really made me like think about like if we grew and improved our own.
Yeah, and like with the live stream as it was, it was fairly bland and whatever, and we want to do some stuff and make it actually look appealing and spend the time and all that to really step it up, and whether that's anything from like commissioning people for their art or their work as well to use as assets for us, or whatever have you.
Yeah. I think just how it brought a lot of our community together, like mainly just in Australia type of thing because of the time restrictions. But we had people from Denmark, we had people from the US, we had people from Singapore. DJ called in for a bit and he's in Singapore at the moment. So just really, really nice to see people coming in. I want to do that more often. I want to do like maybe quarterly live shows where people ring in and really get amongst the community and all that.
Yeah, be a positive force. And I would love to see our Twitch, like a Twitch channel done up and like looking nice. Nice. And even doing things beyond just doing the podcast, whether it be like gameplay or whatever it may be. Just doing some fun stuff.
Yeah. Like I haven't talked to you about this at all, but for PAX this year, it's obviously online only, and they're actually putting out things so you can do an online panel. I'm like, that'll be sick. Would you be interested in doing that?
That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah. So we should look into that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's enough on that. Let's talk about some video games, Bryce.
Absolutely.
So Paper Mario Origami King. I keep on going to say and the Origami King. But there was actually a tweet from Nintendo UK that actually said like, it's Paper Mario Origami King, not Paper Mario and the Origami King. So I guess a lot of people are saying that. So we spent the weekend playing it. I played as much as I possibly could with working all 3 days, but it's all right. I got to play it during the night times. I put maybe 3 hours each night, so I'm probably like around the 10-hour mark roughly. But before we move on, I just want to say that Nintendo Australia actually provided me a code to talk about the game on the podcast, and Bryce was also provided the code to review the game for dashgamers.com.
Yes, that's correct.
So just a bit of a disclaimer out there in case you feel like us not buying it sort of makes our opinions worthless, but regardless, I was going to buy the game. I actually have eShop codes ready to go until I actually check my email. I'm like, oh, that's fantastic. So
yeah, that's all right. Yeah,
it's really nice of them to do that for us.
And I would have bought the game anyway for the physical collection.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it really was just foot forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Bryce, let's jump into it. What do you think of the game?
I'm enjoying it.
Yep.
And I think there was a bit of sour taste in my mouth from Sticker Star, which was the last thing that I even tried to attempt. And I think that's the same case with a lot of people, and that's like mostly the concern is that it's not the 1,000-year door, But in saying that, jumping into it, I knew what to expect. The darker tone at the start was a bit like how you going in some cases.
Yeah,
like it's for people that are of the older age group. I suppose it's probably like maybe a little edgy in its own right, but and the creepy music and the folding and like everybody becoming like these mindless zombies for the origami army.
Yeah, I mean this stuff was in the trailer, but it starts off Mario and Luigi are going towards the Mushroom Kingdom in a cart.
Yeah,
I reckon that was a really nice touch. It's like they're going together, and
it was dope. Yeah,
yeah. And once you get to the town and go into the castle, you're greeted by Origami Peach, and yeah, the tone is just like completely shifted.
It's really eerie.
It's pretty cool though. I like it. Yeah.
It is. It's very cool. It's like that part of the cult.
Yeah,
the cult vibe sort of thing. And I think just overall, like as the game's progressed, I don't know how far you are. How far are you?
I guess I'm at the second elemental, or what?
So I'm just past you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So you were up in the Autumn Mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so I'm in the area just after that, pretty much. It's been really good. Like, I feel like a lot of the writing for NPCs and stuff is on key and it's comedic and it's fun. And I find that's like the thing I love about Mario RPGs so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether it be, Legend of the Seven Stars to Superstar Saga to, Paper Mario to whatever. I feel like those games have a lot to hold in writing because Mario as in itself, in most games, it doesn't have much of it.
Yeah, like it's its greatest strength because a lot of Mario games, even like the best ones, whether it's Mario Galaxy or Sunshine or Super Mario 64, well, these characters don't have stories, they don't have dialogue, they don't have any of this stuff. Where in the RPGs, it's really able to be fleshed out.
Yeah,
every single Toad, every single NPC,
they're all unique.
Mario, even Luigi. Luigi's usually just obviously in like your normal Mario games, like wow, and he can jump higher and he's got like a bit of a different jump. Yeah. Whereas in this, he's like, he's really got personality. He's really he's saying things. And it's really cool.
Yeah, and just some of the stuff just absolutely makes me laugh. Like from and you posted about this on Twitter, but from whacking the tree to stop the music because the megaphone falls off.
Yeah, that's what killed me.
I love that
because like
I was just like, wow, this music's really jarring. I'm like, if I hit this tree, is this going to fall down?
Yeah.
Surely enough, it did. I'm like, oh, thank God, now it's quiet.
Because the greatest strength in this game is the overworld. It's just exploring. Every little nook and cranny has something there. Whether it's a toad you can find. And toads in this game are like the main collectible, and they're just everywhere. Yeah. Absolutely everywhere.
And they can take the form of many different things.
Yeah. And they actually have a use in the game. And we'll talk about that once we get into the sort of battle mechanics of the game.
Yep.
But there's toads everywhere. You're collecting coins. There's actually collectibles that you can go to the museum and view in there. And there's just stuff everywhere. And it's just like you're going through the whole thing. You're just constantly exploring every little nook and cranny, seeing if you can use your 1,000 arms ability where you can like...
1,000 fold arms, yeah.
Yeah. To grab bits of the world and rip them, to reveal secrets, or even in-game or in-story sort of bits to save characters and that. So I reckon that's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, that bit I shared on Twitter where I'm just like exploring every little bit, like you just like hit every tree to get confetti out. Confetti you basically use to patch up the world. Yeah, patch up bits of the world which the big mecha Goombas are eating. So you're just going around and hitting the tree and just like it falls off and the music just stops. And I just went... You can actually see sort of in my gameplay where I just stopped and went, huh. And then I go up to the megaphone itself and start hitting. I'm like, is this going to play again? I'm like, no. I just love how it just like instantly stops and doof, doof, doof. Then you can hear the birds chirping. It's like, huh.
My other favorite thing in that area was just like, what a beautiful day where it looks like nothing can go wrong. On a side note, I have amnesia. I'm like, oh my God, I love that line so much.
Yeah.
And it's full of that, and I think the big primary concern mainly is that a lot of what Paper Mario is known for is takes on partner characters, and they're usually anywhere from enemies to like completely brand new characters, like Goombella or I can't remember half of them, but just like.
Goombario is my favorite from Paper Mario 64.
Yeah. Goombella, Goombario. I can't remember half of them at the moment. But, there's a lot of takeaway from the fact that they don't really exist in this game. And it was actually said down the line later that it was Miyamoto's decision.
Yeah, I've actually got a quote here if you'd like me to read it.
Yeah,
add some context to it.
Yeah.
So this is a quote from an interview with the producer, Tensaki Tanaba. So the quote from the interview was, since Paper Mario is Sticker Star, it's no longer possible to modify Mario characters or to create original characters that touch on the Mario universe. That means if we aren't using Mario characters for bosses, we need to create original characters with designs that don't involve the Mario universe at all, like we've done with Ollie and the stationary bosses. So a lot of the original characters in this game are obviously based off nothing in the Mario universe, as well as like the real life objects like one of the bosses, which is based off of a stationary, which is actually quite interesting to battle.
Yeah.
And it is kind of baffling how they like Miyamoto just doesn't want anything sort of modified for this game. Obviously, it's an intelligent systems game, so it's developed by them. It's an in-house Nintendo development team, but still Miyamoto doesn't want it to be changed in any way.
I don't know if that's down to him wanting it to not be changed, or whether it was down to the fact that, and I mentioned this as well, but whether it was also down to the fact that development time probably would have taken longer.
Yeah,
and I feel like I feel like most people think this as well, that Nintendo's having a very, very slow year, and that they really needed something to fill that gap, where it's just like, if you just put regular Mario characters in there and give them a decent dialogue spin, I'm sure people won't miss them that much. But I feel like, there are a lot of people that do.
Yeah, maybe though. But think about like one of the first ones you meet in the second world, Bobby the Bob-omb. And he just calls himself a Bob-omb because he's got amnesia. It wouldn't be, I don't think that would take any more time to be like, all right, we're going to give you a tie, or we're going to give you a moustache, or we're going to give you a clown wig.
Yeah, but we don't know how many characters that are going to be like that are going to turn up in the story either.
Yeah, true.
We're not that far yet. And I feel like his inclusion, especially since they remove him out of a lot of the major sections of the game, it's more or less when he's just traveling with you that is a thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that alone, and like he doesn't really have a story arc either. He's kind of just there, gets in a bit of shit, and sort of goes forward. Whereas like
that's why he's got amnesia, so you don't need to know his story.
That's exactly right. But in the past, like a lot of those characters in Paper Mario, they all have their own like story arc of some kind, where a whole world is centered around that character, and what's happening with them, their resolutions, and why they're joining your party, and why they're doing. Like, I feel like he's just along for the ride.
Yeah.
And they don't really want to put too much emphasis on him, because they're really focusing on the origami aspect of it, and why the enemies and people and whatever are the way they are. And I feel like that's fair, because it's sort of like setting up something that could potentially be a permanent addition to Paper Mario, like how much the Bean people were for the Mario and Luigi series.
Yeah, I do feel like the writing and personality of each of those, well, just the Bobby the Bob-omb is the main one I've come across so far, and the writing pulls it far enough where I'm actually not too worried about it, because I think he's just a funny character anyway.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah,
I love him. Yeah.
Just to add a bit more context, so the article I just pulled that quote from, it goes on to say, the logic behind all of this may stem from an old Iwata ask for Paper Mario Sticker Star, where Tanabe explained, aside from wanting us to change the atmosphere a lot for Sticker Star, there were two main things that Shigeru Miyamoto said from the start of the project. It's fine without a story, so do we really need one? And as much as possible, complete it with only characters from the Super Mario world. So, I guess Miyamoto, a lot of his games are just like very basic story. They're all focused on gameplay. So when he's looking at a Mario game, which is primarily focused on story, I think that kind of baffles him in some ways.
Maybe, but an RPG is an RPG.
Exactly.
You can't forgo story. And I know that he is very traditional in the way he runs things, but he's definitely not an RPG designer.
No.
And that's the whole point of those games. So whether he is more concerned about the fact that his assets are being used in ways he may not like it, or whatever it may be, is a different thing. But it's definitely important in this context, and I think he really needs to sit down and understand.
Yeah.
Maybe have a good go and understand where things may be a bit more missing, or how like the story actually plays to its strengths, which it does. I feel like Paper Mario Origami King does a pretty good job of that for what it's worth.
Yeah. It just seems like a weird thing to get hung up on. Like, for a Nintendo-made game, like we know that Mario Plus Rabbids, when the creators sort of pitched it to him, Miyamoto said, like, in my games, Mario jumps and he's a platformer. What does he do that's unique in your game? As long as he doesn't jump, you're fine to make a game. And Ubisoft does what Ubisoft does and gives them guns. So that was their like main hook for the game. So yeah, it's a weird thing to get hung up on his side, but it is a shame. I reckon the game is just oozing with personality, and it would just ooze with more personality if each character was given their own different traits.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they have been before.
Yeah,
even another sad thing, I suppose, coming off the back end of this was that Alpha Dream recently shut down, and they made Mario and Luigi. And Superstar Saga has some of my most memorable, like, Mario RPG moments in it ever.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
all of a sudden, that series might come to an end, which is really upsetting because I love those games. But I think what this game does, for as little as it uses, does a very good job. Toads, all the Toads have a unique dialogue. As we've talked about a fair bit already, Bobby is a good character. He's just kind of like that kickabout Bob-omb who's along for the ride. Olivia as a character, who is a unique character, by the way, is a good assistant.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people have the Navi complex where they're just like, oh, go away, I don't need you telling me what to do. But, like, as an actual character, she's useful. And as a tutorial, is not entirely intrusive after the first hour and a half, I feel. Just explaining basic things, not going too far into it, but with the combat as it is, that does require a little bit of explaining as you go further on. But she does let the reins go after a bit and let you do what you need to do.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that in the combat section.
Yeah. Well, we may as well move into the combat now.
Okay.
So obviously one of the main hooks of this game is sort of the turn-based battle system. And in this it's a lot different. It's moved on sort of like what would you call it? Like a circular grid.
Yeah,
it's
grid-based.
Yeah, so it's a grid-based, and the idea is that you can line up the enemies by rotating them or sliding them vertically. And there's a fair bit of learning to do. There's a bit of tutorial in the first few battles. You have Olivia sort of saying you can do this, you can do that. You can use your hammer in this situation. You can just jump if they're all in a straight row. I guess Mario and Luigi sort of terms, if there's like a spiky enemy, you have like a different equipment to put on your feet, so you can jump on their heads without taking damage.
Yeah.
So there's a fair bit there, and I think it's a good battle system, but I think it's one of the aspects of the game that I like the least, because a lot of the time I'm looking around in the world, but if I see an enemy, I'm like, oh no, I just sort of want to run away from it. I don't actually want to engage with it.
And you can.
You can, yeah.
Like, I feel like here's the bigger problem with the game for me, I think, and I think it is the same with most people, but it is level-less RPG.
Yeah. And
you could completely avoid every enemy except for the main major bosses if you really wanted to. And I do feel like the more you battle, the way easier amount of time you're going to have with the game. The amount of gold I have at the moment to just buy stacks and stacks of power items is just absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And that's because I just stomp on everything that comes to my path.
Yeah. And that is the reason why you do battles in this game. It is to earn coins. There is no XP. There's no
and items
nothing.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it would be a shame if somebody realized this and wanted to give themselves a hard time and avoided as many enemies as possible, because there is a lot of situations where at least a little bit past where you are now, and you'll learn it as it comes past, but there are enemies that deal with situations differently, and it does really switch up like how you line things up and what risks you need to take to avoid taking damage. Because when you do take damage in this game, if you have not killed a few enemies, you will take a lot of it.
Yeah.
It is very much reliant on the fact that you line things up correctly so you can kill a row of enemies in one hit and then be like, all right, on to the next one. And then if you can kill them in one hit, you win. It's like, cool, great. But if you don't do that and you can't line them up successfully, then you're going to take hits. And if you do a bad job at lining up in general, you are going to be hit for a lot of damage that you really can't do much to avoid.
Yeah. See, I like the mechanics of the battle. I do.
Yeah.
But just I don't, apart from getting the coins from it, I don't feel that reward. I don't feel my need to do it. In Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, I felt that actually the first time I went through the game, I really struggled with the game the first time I went through it. Every boss battle was so hard, but that's because I was running away from most of the enemies. I didn't have the amount of levels that I needed. Yeah. And it wasn't that obvious either, because there's not like a big level above each boss. So you don't know how strong it is compared to you. And I remember Jordan, he went through the game, and he like blitzed through the game, and he like went past Adam and I like real quick. That's because he was doing each battle, getting the required amount of XP, moving on.
Yeah.
Whereas with this game, like, you know, there might be a bit where it's like, all right, you need this many coins to pay the gatekeeper or something. And if you haven't been doing that many battles, you're going to struggle with that payment. There are a few things in this game where it's like, all right, you need some money to progress type of thing. So I don't know if that's going to become a thing, but just so far, I'm not feeling that reward to sort of do the battles every time.
I don't think you have to do them every time, and I don't think the game is designed around you doing them every time. They give you a lot of open space to run around things.
Yeah.
I think beating things is more or less security. So, like, if you're like, I can't get this part, like, I can't beat it. It's absolutely just kicking my ass. You can at least go back to town and get some items, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just security. When you're going into the next fight, you're like, all right, I'll just go back, buy one up shroom, some decent boots, like, whatever, do the thing. And, like, you know, for the most part, I think that's okay. I don't think that is problematic at all, and I think it's probably good as a speedrunners game in a lot of ways, because it's just like, you can avoid every enemy, but you won't take consequence for it if you already know what you're doing with the game.
Yeah.
And that's great. You know, that gives a lot of opportunity and growth for multiple playthroughs to see how far you can get without injecting way too much time into leveling or anything like that. And then, you know, go through a harder sort of aspect of it. And I think it has a lot of potential in that regard. It does have issues, however, in that because it's not level based, it does not show growth, and that is pretty problematic in itself. Like, when you think about things like Partners in Time, you think about going forward, getting ahead, getting bro moves, getting those really nice, powerful items for finishing those difficult battles, like the Mega Fire Flower or whatever you call it. I can't even remember what the item was specifically, but you had all 4 bros smashing that giant ball of fire. You know, just the things that look cool. And I think that's what inherently makes RPGs such a cool thing, is going from grunt level to ultra god.
Yeah.
And there's obviously not that in Paper Mario. It is very much just, this is what you've got at your disposal.
Like, so far, it's different types of boots and different types of hammers as tools for battle.
Yeah, and
fire flowers.
Well, yeah, the items in general, but you also get Olivia's powers on occasion too.
Yeah, true, yeah.
Yeah, so, which, you know, you play those correctly, that's cool and that's fine, and you get the most out of it, and I think it's definitely cool in that regard. The actual combat itself, I think, tries to make up, like, with the grid turning and everything, I think it tries to make up aesthetically for that, like, skill-based gameplay, but once you get the patterns of enemies down, and, like, in regards what they do, what they can avoid, what their specific traits are, whatever it may be, because I know that the ninja, which you'll come across later on, they are completely invincible to a certain type of attack and will counterattack you every time you do it. So you can't hurt them by doing that attack. So you always have to line them up a specific way, because if you don't, then you can't hit them. So there's that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's going to create more tension as the game goes on, because it's going to be more about lining up enemies specifically how they need to be lined up. Otherwise, you're not doing any damage to them that turn at all.
Yeah. See, that's all cool. But, like, even though I was saying, like, about the EXP system, I don't think necessarily just adding an EXP system into this is necessarily going to fix it, because that might just add, like, unnecessary grind as well. Like, that won't necessarily make it a better game, but at the moment, I'm just not feeling that, like, all right, I need to get into the battles. But I'm hoping that will change. And, like, what you're saying is cool. I'm looking forward to getting to the next area and getting involved in that.
It's all about perfection, I think, is the game's garb. It's not so much about how much effort you put into you know, building everything up. It's more about how you perfect execution.
Yeah, and a few more of, like, the trickier combinations. And when you get them, it's really rewarding.
Yeah.
When you, like, you know, you twist it, you rotate it, you put them exactly where they are, and you smash them with the hammer, and you jump on their heads, and you do it in one turn. It's
and
like,
you
wow.
get a good coin bonus for doing so too.
Yeah, you get rewarded for that. So there are really good aspects of the combat system of that. But what we sort of touched on before, I think it really shines with the boss battles. I think the boss battles are really fun.
They are. They're really good. Yeah.
Basically, it changes that the boss is in the middle and you rotate sort of...
They become a mini board game, essentially.
You sort of rotate it so directional arrows take you to the boss so you can attack it. And there's other things along the way like health, or maybe there's like little letters that you can pick up, and they basically give you hints how to beat the boss. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And like there is that tension there. Like you've got a certain amount of time to line it up right. And if you run out of time, you're going to not get to the boss. You're not going to get to attack him, and he's going to wreck
Stomp
you.
your butt.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that. Like the first time, I was in bed. I was like sweating a bit. Like, oh god, but really fun. Yeah.
The water one's definitely a challenge. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you'll have fun with that.
Did you beat it first go, or have a few goes?
I did with the 1-up mushroom.
Okay,
But yeah, it is definitely. Sometimes I forget that, like, even in boss battles, you can move vertically, like the panels. So I kind of just like, I'm like, this shit's not lining up. This is bullcrap. And then I'm like, oh wait, hang on, I forgot I could do that.
It's like, oh yeah.
But yeah, it definitely, it definitely is slowly getting harder in terms of like how the bosses do things, and that's cool. And I thought the first major boss, so the first utensils boss, as they call them, that was a fun fight, and it came to a really cool conclusion too. I really quite liked it. With the Gatling, yeah, and reusing that against him was definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome, and I loved the quote at the end too. And I'm not going to say it here because it's a great quote. But
that's half the game. Just like, wow, that was funny.
Yeah, a lot of the written dialogue is great, and I think that's what is mostly keeping me, entertained. Because it could just be a substandard RPG with like very boring writing, and I probably wouldn't be as interested.
Yeah, no.
I'm way more motivated to get it done with the goofs and gaffs that are coming up along the way.
Yeah.
I think the last thing we really need to touch on about the battling system, though, is Olivia and the Toads. Yeah. So we better talk about that.
Yeah. So you go into your point and...
Okay. All right. So the major systems in Paper Mario for battle, outside of just Mario's basic abilities, is Mario and Toads. So the more Toads you earn around the world will actually fill up your grandstands around the battle arena, and that will ultimately give you more better Toad support. So the reason you get so much coins in the game is that it's sort of designed around the fact that you use coins for just about anything. Whether that be, buying stuff, items, whatever, or you can get Toad support mid-battle. Toad support can do things from shuffling enemies around the board to doing damage to collecting things in boss battles like letters or items or whatever it may be around the board at expensive coins, which is cool. I think that's a pretty cool way to use them. They've always historically been on Paper Mario battle stages as a crowd. But now they have an ultra functional use that actually, sort of makes sense. You pay them, they help you out, you move on, sort of thing.
Really shouldn't have to pay them. We're helping them out so much, but we've still got to pay them to really help us actually save more of them.
I'm pretty sure in the past, they had at least, small Toad supports that would pop out every now and then. I can't remember, but something comes to mind.
Yeah, I can't remember the last game of the series I played was Sticker Star, and that's coming up to 7 years ago now, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. But it's definitely a lot more functional now, and you have a way to actually properly use it. And then there is also 2 more systems in Olivia in which you can spend coins to grant you more time to figure out puzzles, which I feel like is a good safety net for kids, as long as they continuously do battles and stuff like that to help them sort of figure out things. But I feel like 30 seconds is almost enough time for most battles. Yeah. And it won't make you stress too much.
See, I've actually got some items equipped to me that
extend time and stuff.
Yeah, put up my time, put up my health, and health, time, and guard, basically defense, So I'll put them on, and that makes it even more prolonged. So it's really good.
Yeah, that's right. And I don't find myself using it very often unless it's on the boss battles where I'm sort of just I really need to figure out a path that's going to work out in my favor in 3 moves. Otherwise, I'm going to get hit by an attack I really don't want to be hit by. So, that's good. And I feel like, it's encouraged that you don't use it way too much. But if you do use it, you get a little bit of extra time. It gives you more time to get your head to wrap around things. It does sort of dumb down the difficulty a little bit in a sense that you can do that, though. I feel like there should just be trial and error, because at least then it makes the player sort of think and learn a bit quicker rather than just relying on spending coins.
Yeah.
And spamming battles for the grind.
I mean, so far you always have enough coins as well.
Yeah.
So it's not too much out of your pocket to actually want to do that. But, if that is how you feel, maybe just ignore it if you can. I know it's hard to ignore something that's right there.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That's... and then there's the last thing, which I'm not sure if it is the last major mechanic of battles, but there is also Velelemental. So as you progress, Olivia gets more powers. Let's just put it there. And occasionally, from time to time, enemies will be carrying magic circles for Velelemental powers, and then you can execute them if you kill the enemy. And its true optimization is making sure that an enemy is dead before they drop that, like a whole wave of enemies is dead before they drop that Velelemental, so you can use it in the next stage and clear that whole board there. Because the second board will almost always be set up in a way that you can't complete it in one run. So you'll always get damaged. But if you get that Velelemental circle, it doesn't matter, because you can just wipe it out and then you can score a perfect run. But you can stuff it up during that wave, and if you kill an enemy with the Velelemental circle, it drops to you, and you still have an enemy left on the board. You're going to completely waste it because you've got to use it immediately. It's not something you can just avoid.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of like tactile play to that as well, where if like, you haven't lined the enemies up correctly, so you need to be like, all right, well, I can't kill the magic circle elemental, otherwise I'm just going to completely waste it. So you need to go and kill everything around it without killing it, so that you can kill it on the next turn and then take that free wave clear. And, again, it's a little bit tactile, and I feel like it's basically just there to say, hey, this is important, and you get a nice little bonus if you do it correctly, which is nice. But it does just basically feel like, hey, this is Final Fantasy. Here's a summon, kill everything. Cool.
Yeah,
and it's not much more.
And that's kind of what it is, just like a summon.
Yeah,
with a big creature.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's not complicated, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I find like I've only got the one at the moment, but I'm going to find it fun to sort of like find out what each one is, because each one's like quite an elaborate creation. So it's like, oh yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the next one is when I play it later tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just off the top of your head, do you know how long this game is? Have you sort of read anywhere how long it is?
For reports from Dash said it was about 25 hours, but I actually think it might be more than that with the amount of stuffing around that I do. Yeah,
that's the thing. It can take longer depending on how much exploration you do.
Yeah, which is, in the game, there is an absolute ton of it. And I don't feel like it's purposely sidetracking me to do these things. I feel like I'm actually going out of my way to be like, yeah, I'll go see what's here, and then I'll do this, and then I'm like, oh, a secret room, how cool, and then I'll walk through it, and then, and I feel like that's a good thing.
And that can add so much time, because I know when I was playing The Last of Us Part 2, a lot of people were saying the game is anywhere from 25 hours to 30 hours, and like there was lots of discussion about, are games too long, all of this, and I'm playing it, and I had quite limited time, so I'm like, all right, I just want to go through it, get the story. I was doing like as much exploration as I wanted to, and when I got to the end, I'm like, oh, like the credits just popped up. I'm like, oh, that's the end. Oh, and like I clocked in about 20 hours because I was like trying to actually get the story more.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because everyone's like, oh, this game, like it feels like it stops like 3 times. But I never got that. I was actually surprised once I got to the end. I'm like, oh, this is the end. Shit. So it might be a similar thing with this, where like if you're just like looking for every single toad, you make sure you don't miss one. it might take you a fair while.
Yeah.
Because there's that much in it. And I guess just talking about looking for toads, there are actually items where it can help you seek them out, which is, I've only got the bell at the moment, but I know there's upgrades to it to actually get more precise locations on them. So, yeah.
Not so much upgrades. You'll get something soon, but it is like an entirely new item.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, that's quite, yeah.
So, yeah, and it does. It infinitely helps, especially in the context of where you get it at. You're like, God damn it, I don't want to sit here fucking hitting my hammer all over the place for the next 3 hours trying to find this goddamn toad. And then you go a little bit further down the path, you unlock something, you're like, oh, okay, that makes things a bit easier, you know. And I think that's nice and everything. I haven't had to... There is like a recharge mechanic on it where you have to spend coins to then recharge it, but I'm not entirely sure what the rates are on that. It definitely promotes quick and easy use, and ensuring you get it done as fast as possible in order to like maximize the battery's lifetime.
Right. Yeah.
Because then, like, as soon as the battery runs out, you have to go recharge it, and it's at a coin cost. So you know,
those coins. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a common theme in this. Like, you spend a lot of them, and I feel like that's just been the thing with Mario games. I feel like they've sort of suddenly just realized they're like, you know, we've always collected 100 coins in a Mario stage before for a special item or something, but what if we used them for an actual purpose?
Oh,
it's like, great.
What if coins from Mario
could be spent
were currency?
No, oh my god, you know, like, yeah, it is literally like they've just realized this.
That's like the only input Miyamoto had on this game. It's like you can't customize the characters, but you can use it as currency. It's like, Miyamoto, this is why they call you one of the most
prolific game developers in history.
Just wonderful.
Oh, so amazing.
Yeah. So I think that wraps up all our thoughts. Do you have anything else to sort of put in there?
I guess I just want to say in conclusion that I'm really enjoying it, and I think it's definitely doing better than what Sticker Star did for me. And I bought Sticker Star with the intention of going back into Paper Mario and trying all over again, because I never got that far with the Thousand Year Door. I'd intended to, never got around to it because I never officially owned it. I never owned Super Paper Mario, so that's also a hindrance there. But, you know, it's been trying to find a crevice where I'm like, yeah, I'm comfortable with this. And, you know, I played through a fair bit of 64, and again, those couple of games I tried to get through and never really got through them. But with this one, I can actually see myself completing, which is, you know, surprising in some consensus, because my preferred Mario RPG was always Mario and Luigi. And that's mainly due to me playing through not Superstar Saga, Legend of the Seven Stars, and really enjoying the shit out of that game as a SNES game. Yeah. And it's more akin and closer to that than it is what Paper Mario is to it. So, you know, it's always been trying to find a nice way to enter the series, and I feel like this has been my nice way to enter the series, as somebody, you know, who really put it on. Because Stick Star certainly didn't do anything for me, really. I played it for a couple of hours and gave up.
I did too, yeah.
And I wasn't finding it enjoyable. And then, like, Paper Mario 64, I did play for like a fair bit of it, but it does really show its age. And, you know, when you look at its successor, the Thousand Year Door, everybody always talks about it.
Yeah, I will just say, like, everybody who's online, and I know some people are sort of holding back on this game because they're sort of hearing negative things about it. Like, don't worry about what people are comparing it to. Like, Thousand Year Door, it's just a completely other game. It's an RPG.
Oh yeah,
like it's a great game. People want the series to continue down that road, but the fact is, it just hasn't. It's become something else. This game's all about more exploration, you know, collecting, finding things, puzzles, characters, and I think it really, really does well in those aspects.
I think it needs that unique identity. Like, we've got 2 Mario RPG series, and yes, I know Alpha Dream's down the drain now, but I feel like if somebody else is going to pick up Mario and Luigi again, and they make that more of the RPG series that you guys are looking for, ultimately, at the end of the day, that's what they're going to do. Yeah. They're going to make that RPG series a more traditional RPG, and they're going to make Paper Mario a more gimmicky RPG, like they have already been doing for the past few years. Yeah. Or few iterations, or whatever you want to call it. But this is definitely Probably the strongest one since the 1,000-Year Door. And I think most people will agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it is too.
Yeah.
Because like with Sticker Star, I can't talk about Color Splash because in 2016 I wasn't playing much Wii U.
No.
But there just wasn't there was like the writing was still there, but the battle system wasn't anywhere as rewarding, and like every sticker had like one use, which just like went, and that just kind of ruined the
importance of it all.
Yeah.
So. And the music bangs.
Yeah, it does.
I love the music of Origami King. It's really good. I love that battle theme.
I did too. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Really gets me hyped for battle.
Yeah, and like I don't usually do this with Switch games, but I was playing it in handheld mode, and I made sure that I had my headphones on while playing it because I wanted to hear it. Like if I didn't have my headphones on while doing that, hitting the tree and the thing just falls off, that would have been like a huge miss.
Yeah,
because it does pretty cool cues with its presentation.
With sound design, and I love it. I think it's really awesome because like I remember hearing that megaphone. I'm like, God, that's jarring. And then I hit the tree. I'm like, oh, that's better.
Yeah, and like it sounds different depending on your location as well.
Yeah,
like it sort of like shifts between like sounding like distorted and good. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. That's really cool.
I think it's just a really really good for that overall. It's chirpy, it's boppy, it's fantastic, and I think like it's probably one of the more Mario. It's probably going to be one of the more Mario. Jesus, I can't talk. One of the more memorable Mario soundtracks of the Switch. Like I'd argue to say it would be like because if you ask me to hum a Mario Odyssey theme, I might be able to hum the last song that was in the last chase section of Odyssey, but past that, I don't think I could remember.
You'll be able to do Superstar.
Oh yeah, but that's another thing as well. I think the two vocalized songs are probably the only two things that. Oh my God, shut up! I'm trying to talk.
Sorry, man. You go ahead.
I think those two songs are like the only things I could ever remember from Mario Odyssey, and that's mainly because they were very much heavily marketed. So
true, yeah, that was all in the marketing material.
Yeah, exactly. But like, as for actual non-marketed material that was put into the worlds and stuff like that, I don't think I could remember half of it. I haven't played it in like so long, but like if you talk about games I haven't played in so long, I could still sing like 90% of their tunes, but in Odyssey I couldn't.
Yeah, I'm probably the same way. Now that I think about it.
But I think like the battle theme in this is probably going to be something I remember pretty fervently. You know,
and you hear that like obviously every time you do a battle, so
yeah,
it should stick in your head a bit.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean like that's awesome, right?
Yeah,
and just memorable moments again with the megaphone, with the toads, all their quips, the different ways the toads are folded into origami. You know, whether it be a dog or a butterfly or something like that, you got to whack across the head.
I just love how every little butterfly, like there's a toad, there's a dog barking at me, go and hit it with the hammer. It's a toad.
It's a toad. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely fantastic game, and
so far
we recommend it. And I guess a lot of people who say, "Oh, I'm not picking it up," I'm kind of like, what are you playing on Switch at the moment? I know there's like heaps of indie games and games to catch up and all that, but if you're after like new content, this is it for at least a little bit.
To ride that, yeah. If you are concerned because of the way Sticker Star and Color Splash had presented themselves and their reception, don't. I feel like everybody has a universal thumbs up for this game at the moment. I don't think anybody is like, this is a step in the wrong direction, because it's definitely an improvement.
Yeah.
And if they keep improving with things like this, and then hopefully, you know, you'll see your 1,000-Year Door 2. You know, that's what I'm hoping for, is that eventually it does culminate to something where people can just be ultimately enjoyed with it. But for now, it is definitely doing a much better job than it was before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to keep playing it. Yeah. So Bryce, let's move into some news.
Is that all?
High five for my friends!
My body is still.
Wow, Bryce. So just a few hours ago, a new Nintendo Direct Mini was announced.
Yeah.
And at the moment of recording, we haven't seen it. We don't know what's being revealed.
No.
So
It's only 10 minutes, I think.
yeah, so it's going to be a very quick one. We didn't really see a reason in postponing the podcast to catch it.
Yeah, to catch 10 minutes worth of
So
content. Yeah.
I'm going to inject my thoughts on it a few hours after recording this. But before I do that, Bryce, what do you hope is going to be shown at this Direct? Do you have any sort of expectations, or are you just like, whatever?
It's on games already shown off, right?
Yes.
So just think about that for a moment. What is something that needs to be rectified?
Well, you said Bayonetta 3 earlier, so you're talking about that, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
We had heard earlier on in the year that somebody had spoken to the producers and they're like, yeah, it's coming along. You know, we're doing things, and I feel like it's been long enough now from announcement where they're just like, yeah, we probably should put something out about it. You know, let people know how it's going on, because people are asking the question all the time: where the hell is Bayonetta? Like you announced at the same time as Metroid Prime 4, and Metroid Prime 4 has had more updates, even though it regressed back to like start of development.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, like we haven't heard anything about it since then. So I feel like Bayonetta 3 is probably due for a, hey, how are you? This is how the game's looking. So let's hope for that.
Yeah. It makes sense too, because like if it is within the next 3 months.
I don't think it'd be within the next 3 months, maybe the end of the year.
End of the year even. Like it would make sense to sort of start the marketing churn, as it were, now. But
yeah.
All right. We're going to jump to future Drew, see what he has to say about it.
Hi, future Drew.
Yeah, thanks for past Bryce. It was very nice of you to introduce me like that. So the Nintendo Direct happened in the future, and it was a pretty underwhelming one, in all honesty. Nothing too exciting, but I'll go into it nevertheless. I think the most exciting one was the announcement at the start. So Cadence of Hyrule Crypt of the Necrodancer is getting a season pass and 3 DLC packs all up. So the first one is a character pack, and you get access to Impa, Arya, Shadow Link, Shadow Zelda, Frederick, and you can use those characters in the game. And it seems pretty good. That DLC pass is available now, so have your fun if you're going to pick up the season pass. DLC pack 2 is the Melody pack, and this is the one out of the pack that I'm most excited about. So it adds 39 brand new songs to the game, and its composers for this pack are Family Jewels, A Rival, and Chipsel. And Family Jewels, I'm a big fan of Family Jewels. He's an absolute great musician. We featured him on Nintendo Jukebox multiple times on this podcast. Really excellent renditions of Nintendo music, whether it's guitar or whatever he's doing. Absolutely fantastic. So having that added to the game is really cool. And DLC Pack 3 is a Symphony of the Mask. So you get to play as Skull Kid in a brand new story and with a brand new map. And you can change your abilities by using different masks in the game. So that's going to be the main pack where you actually get new story, new content. The others are just like adding new characters to play as, and then the second pack is brand new songs. So overall, it's pretty cool. And the Season Pass is available right now. DLC Pack 1 is out to download, and the others should be out before October unless things get delayed. And a physical copy of the game is coming out on October 23rd. So cool little announcement for people that enjoy Crypt of the Necrodancer. Well, Cadence of Hyrule Crypt of the Necrodancer. And the rest is like, pretty small stuff, except for the one at the end, which we'll go into a little bit later. So the next up was Rogue Company, and this is a game from Hi-Rez Studios. It's basically like a third-person shooter with different objectives. When I first saw it today, they actually teased that they were going to be a part of this Direct, so I did actually retweet it for other people to see whether they wanted to check out this game. But it seems like a pretty interesting third-person shooter. I assume it's free to play because it's also a cross-platform, cross-progression, and it's got motion control aiming on Switch, which is good because people that really enjoyed Splatoon will get to use those controls on Switch. And personally, I really enjoy them on Switch as well, the motion controls. Never really think about it on PlayStation, but when I'm playing it on the Pro Controller, I really do enjoy it. So this is going to be one to look out for. It might be a fun third-person shooter because we don't get a whole lot of those on Switch. And looking at the graphics and sort of the frame rate of everything, it looked like it was running pretty smoothly from the gameplay that they showed us. So this might be one to keep an eye on, especially if it is free to play. So yeah, seems pretty cool. And next up was WW2K Battlegrounds. And I am not a wrestling guy whatsoever. I've got nothing to put in for this game. But I hope it turns out to be quite a fun party wrestling game for those who are into their wrestling. Because the series for the last few years, they've been sort of ignoring like the fun party wrestling games from what I've been hearing anyway. So hopefully this is a good one for people to get in and have a go with. And after that, Shin Megami Tensei 3 HD Remaster was shown, and it's coming out spring 2021. So that's cool for fans of that series. And next and very last is Shin Megami Tensei 5, which has been announced for such a long time. It's been one of the games that's just been just in the void, kind of like Bayonetta 3, but I think it's been even longer than that. I think it was like pretty much around when the Switch was announced. It's like, all right, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is coming to this thing. And it's just been quiet until now. It's got a 2021 release date, and it's a simultaneous worldwide release, which is really big for a game like this. Other Atlas games like Persona 5, they come to Japan about a year before they come to the West. So they're really going to be pushing this game heavy on Switch. Whether that's because they see a lot of the want for Persona 5 to come over the Switch, and they're going to be like, all right, we're going to push this hard to this certain audience on Switch. It goes to show. So yeah, seeing more of this game is going to be interesting. The website is live, so whether they've got more information there, I don't know. I really know nothing about this series, so I can't go into too much of the trailer or anything, but maybe next week Bryce will have something to say on it. Or maybe he won't. Anyway, I think that's literally it. That's 8 minutes. Oh, that's 8 minutes and 13 seconds of the Nintendo Direct Mini Partner Showcase for July 2020. So lucky we didn't delay the show for it. Anyway, back to current Drew. All right, I'm back. What a nice young man.
Yeah, you know, he's looking very very scruffed there with his extra 3 hours of hair on him.
Yes, yeah. He's gonna have to shave again.
Yeah. You know, not like now, like right now, current time you, as opposed to 3 hours ago, your hair is perfectly fine right now.
I'm like actually bald at the moment.
Yeah. But like in 3 hours time,
it was wild.
Yeah. You might want to get yourself cleaned up.
Yeah.
So
very exciting stuff.
Dirty future Drew. Damn.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty offensive to future me. So next up, Bryce, is an article from VentureBeat, and the title is Why Reggie Fils-Aimé Joined Rogue Games as a Strategic Advisor. So Bryce, you catch this news? Reggie's got a new job?
No. Yeah. Quick question.
Okay, quick question, man.
Yeah. Does that mean he stopped doing anything with GameSpot?
No,
he's still doing it.
Stop.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's just I do it all the time as well, don't I?
Yeah, it's the same thing. So he hasn't left as their advisor or whatever it may be. Okay, cool.
So this is quite a lengthy article, so I'll just read enough to get the information from it. So the VentureBeat article reads, Rogue Game is announcing Reggie Fils-Aimé, the former and beloved president of Nintendo of America, is joining the indie game publisher as a strategic advisor. The Los Angeles-based company publishes mobile and PC games from a small or mid-sized indie game developers. But it is moving to the console market, and that's why they need advice from an expert like Reggie Fils-Aimé, who retired from Nintendo after 15 years in April 2019. As the new consoles come this fall from Sony and Microsoft, Rogue Games is expanding to console and PC gaming platforms from Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. Fils-Aimé will advise the board of directors, which includes CEO Matt Casamassina, who was a editor at IGN, and many other names, which I'm going to butcher if I even try, so let's move along. Casamassina said in an email that Reggie, as he is known, brings unrivaled experience in the console arena, which is invaluable to Rogue Games now. Fils-Aimé said in an article he was impressed with Rogue's vision for consoles on platforms like Switch. Over the last few years, Rogue Games has moved early into new game services such as Apple Arcade and Google Play Pass, with titles like Super Impossible Road, Sociable Soccer, Hexable, the action platformer, and Outsider Afterlife. And that was cool. I actually remember, I think it was Super Impossible Road on Apple Arcade when that launched. That was actually quite a neat looking game. It kind of had gameplay similar to what you might expect from F-Zero, but it was like a ball on a track, which you've got to keep it on.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite a neat looking game. So these guys do produce pretty neat looking games currently on mobile and PC. And bringing on someone like Reggie, it's going to be huge for them to get into that market. It's going to be massive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just a little bit more context. Someone on Twitter tweeted Reggie saying, Reggie, what's your definition of retirement? Because he's doing a lot in his retirement.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people, like you and I included, probably like retirement means staying home, watching TV, going for a walk, enjoying life, the smaller things, smelling the flowers, just enjoying life.
I think he still wants to be within the world.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is when you look at Reggie's career history, like the one that he's enjoyed most is gaming.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
And Reggie, he actually responded to the person on Twitter, and he said, so this is his definition of retirement. So it's helping people I value, developing the next generation of business leaders, helping executives create world-class business cultures, sharing my experiences, having fun, and a perfect retirement plan. So that's with his more time. He just wants to help people grow their businesses and doing the things he loves, which is just growing businesses pretty much.
Yeah.
And he's talked about that in his own podcast and other podcasts he's been a guest of. Just he really enjoys like getting into a business and helping it grow. That's what he likes to see.
That's good.
And I guess his time at Nintendo, he obviously did help them grow a lot with the decision to include Wii Sports with the Wii was just massive for that console. And him just enjoying gaming from his childhood was a nice little perk on that too.
How good is Reginald?
I love him.
Honestly.
He's a good boy.
He is such a good fellow. Like, no matter what way you look at him, you're just like, man, I miss him.
Yeah.
I miss him. And I really hope that, like, Phil Spence really comes off as, like, that for Xbox as well and helps Xbox growth. I really hope that, like, him and Reggie sat down for some beers one night and they were like, you know what? Reggie, I want advice. How do I really spark up my company? And that's where he's got his sort of go from, because he's really interacting with people now, and he seems really, really interested in like hearing people's opinions about things and sort of being the face of Xbox, which something that we all know Reggie was famous for with Nintendo. And I really hope that like through their partnership and their talks and stuff like that, that's what they achieved.
Yeah.
You know, and I hope that though Reggie is now finished with, you know, being the face of Nintendo or whatever, that we still get the same with Phil Spence and Xbox, because they seem to get along really well. And they look like they talk all the time.
Yeah. And just on that note too, like obviously we like Reggie as a personality, not just because of his involvement with Nintendo. And it is great that we are still getting Reggie out in the public doing things.
Yeah.
Like whether it's just reading involvement with other companies or doing his own podcast, which was a charity. It's just really nice still having him out there.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
I reckon it's even like he's not constrained to say what he needs to grow Nintendo as a business. He's not required by the marketing team to say this or don't say that. Like he can say whatever he wants. He can go and talk to Phil Spencer about just the market of video games. It's really interesting. I recommend anyone go and listen to that podcast.
Yeah.
Just in this Twitter thread, someone just posted a video saying a video called Reggie Say Bill. I was going to play it. I'll go and hear it. Oh, turn out the wrong one. Always turn out the wrong one.
Always.
Bill!
Wow. Anyway.
What the fuck?
It's just like someone just did a video where it's just like he's saying Bill, 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 and it just like turns up the pitch for each one. Just fantastic.
Bill.
Bill. So next up is Hal Laboratory relocates to a new Nintendo building in Tokyo. And this news article comes from My Nintendo News. And the article reads, the beloved Hal Laboratory has relocated to Nintendo's fancy new building in Tokyo. The staff at Hal Laboratory Tokyo has also increased, with the last count at 195 employees, which is up from the last count of 169. The company is famous for its work on Kirby and the Mother series. The company joins Game Freak, who transferred to the Tokyo building alongside with Nintendo EPD Tokyo. So I haven't actually heard about this building before, but at the start of the year, Game Freak also moved this building, as well as Nintendo's main Mario team, which is the EPD group.
Yeah.
So interesting that a lot of these companies are coming together. Especially, I know this article has been brought up because of Hal Laboratory, but interesting that Game Freak is in the same building as Nintendo, because we know they're a second-party developer
Yeah.
who's largely controlled by the Pokemon company as far as what they're doing. But
Yeah.
pretty cool to see. Hopefully, maybe that means for the Pokemon games it'll be easier to get some help from, Nintendo development crews. So that'd be cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I guess this information comes from an insider on Reddit. And on Reddit, they go on to say that, to be more precise, this is all about the building on Tokyo. If you don't know, most Nintendo divisions are on Kyoto, but they have divisions and buildings on Tokyo. In the past, some companies were in the Tokyo building, it be subsidiaries or partners, and the same still holds true, but that was changed later last year. Game Freak transferred to the new Tokyo building alongside Tokyo EPD Tokyo. Nintendo PTD Tokyo, One Up Studio, and now Hal Laboratory development team on Tokyo is again on the building. Hal updated their that's just reiterating stuff. But yeah, it's interesting just for the insight of Nintendo development, because we don't get a lot of it.
No,
We don't get a lot of it. Like we know that, like, obviously the Game Freak has its own brand. Retro Studios has its own brand because it's Nintendo's only Western development owned studio. But a lot of these other teams, they just got like their own little code names, whether it's Nintendo EPD or what have you. They don't have it's not like PlayStation Studios, for example, where you got Sucker Punch, Naughty Dog, Japan Studio, etc. It's not as branded as one. And in some ways I wish it was, because it would be cool to point towards some of these studios and be like, yes, I know exactly what you are, head of the studio, etc.
Yeah.
And you get some of that with obviously Intelligent Systems with Paper Mario and Retro Studios with Metroid Prime. But some of these games you just don't know where they are unless you really dig in and have a look.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
it just says Nintendo on the box.
Yeah.
Some more information on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Oh, not the Lego Nintendo Entertainment System, not just the ancient one that came out a while ago. So we talked about it a bit last week because it was breaking news while we were live, but now it's got a release date and it comes out August 1st. And what we found out before is actually got an interactive TV where you turn a bit of a wheel there.
Oh, I love that so much.
And it moves through level 1-1 of the original Mario Bros. Mm-hmm. And if you pair it with the little Mario Lego figurine, put him on top, it does the sound. Does the coin sounds, does the music. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's Australian. It's $349. So it's pretty pricey, but for Lego,
It's a super dope set though.
pretty cool set.
I've seen Jade spend anywhere from up to $120 to $180 on Lord of the Rings sets.
Yeah.
So seeing it for that price, and especially considering its functionality, makes me go, that's actually not as bad as I thought, honestly. Because it's a whole unit in which you can put on a rotating Lego screen.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to build in that TV.
Yeah. Yeah. An absolute ton. And it'd keep you busy for a very, very long time. And my God, that would be an awesome display piece.
Yeah, I know. That's probably the main reason I want to buy it.
Yeah.
And $350, that's a lot of money. That's going to buy you especially for me, where I'm like, all right, I want to look into getting a PC, and PS5 and Xbox Series X are coming out. I've got to start thinking about where my money's going for some of these fun items. And as much as I'll be like, oh, that'd be sick, I'll buy it, put it on my shelf, fantastic. It's going to be one of those situations where, all right, are you in the position to buy Lego at the moment? Maybe just save that money.
Not only just that, but I could never see you building it. You can't put cardboard together.
Yeah, the Labo. Yeah, that's the thing. But I bought it in shearing season, and like I said around that time, the last thing I want to do is come home sore, tired. Sometimes I'm just too tired to even play a game, let alone sit at a table and build cardboard.
I mean, do you really want to do that with Lego? You're almost as busy now in some cases. You're working 7 days a week at the moment.
It's frustrating because this is the time where I can actually
do things,
games and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's not working.
No.
It's not working for me. But regardless, I see a lot of people very excited for this, and I'm looking forward to seeing people building it and putting it in their displays, maybe even Twitch streaming it. I would love to sit down and Twitch stream it, set up the camera with a bird's eye view and all that. I reckon it'd be sick. That'd be a lot of fun. And just talking to the chat and doing that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
If I had the time, I would even consider doing that. But also on the same day, not as exciting, but Nintendo America announced this on their Twitter, that there's actually a Super Mario Monopoly and a Super Mario Jenga coming out on the same day. I'm not sure about Australia. Haven't seen Nintendo Australia confirm this, but definitely for you guys in the US, this is coming out. And I've never been a Monopoly or Jenga guy, but looks pretty cool.
Monopoly Jenga. Yeah.
Monopoly Jenga. The Jenga is actually pretty cool. It's like a Bowser theme, so you're basically trying to like crash down Bowser.
That's cool.
It's actually kind of like a cool little theme.
Yeah.
I think the game mechanics might actually work a little bit different as well.
Probably, if that's the case, because the whole point is usually to pull parts out without making the structure full.
Yeah. Let me just read this bit here. So Jenga Super Mario isn't the typical Jenga experience you're used to. Instead of delicately pulling out blocks and hoping another player sends the whole tower flying, you're in control of Mario characters who are climbing the tower to defeat Bowser, collecting coins along the way. Furthermore, you have a spinner to determine the number of blocks to stack, how many layers your Super Mario character must climb, or whether to reverse play or collect coins. So does that make any sense to you?
Not really.
No. So
We'll see.
So you're trying to climb the tower. So I think it's basically you remove a block and the part that reveals a pathway, and your Mario character can run up, can move along the tower. So you're moving blocks to make room to run up to get to Bowser.
Gotcha.
I think that's what it means.
Right.
That's from the press release. So if they can't communicate it to me, don't know. But if everyone likes their Jenga and wants a bit of a different spin on it, there it is.
Yeah.
Super Mario and
Hopefully.
we've already got Super Mario Monopoly. It's called Paper Mario the Origami King. It's just putting coins out everywhere in that game. So whatever you're after. So moving on, Bryce. So Metacritic says it will delay user score reviews for video games. And the article reads, online review aggregate website Metacritic has recently announced that it will delay user scores for video games for 36 hours after the game's release. Review bombing has become a major problem on the site, particularly with video games. The company says that the decision was based on data-driven research and with the input of critics and industry experts. So I guess just going off of this, like the last major one to really suffer from this was The Last of Us Part 2. The game leaked a few months before the game actually came out. That story was super divisive and they took some risks with that. Personally, for that game, I quite liked where they went with that story. Other people absolutely hated it, and that resulted in people just going to Metacritic before the game was out, mind you, and giving it a 0, saying it was shit. And what that sort of means for Metacritic is like if someone out there's like, oh, I heard this game's all right, what do the users think about it? Like a 3 out of 10 for a game like that is just not useful for anyone.
No.
And it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So since Ghost of Tsushima and Paper Mario have came out, these are the new rules. You can't post a user review straight away. And that makes so much sense. It should have been that way for a long time, really.
Yeah, well, because again, like when people review bomb the shit out of that, the minute it comes out, it gives no people time to form an opinion.
Yeah, and like even if it wasn't review bombing, if it was just like, say we got the game Friday, and we're like, I love Mario, and you go and give it a 10, that's not useful for anyone either. No.
I would argue they'd be best holding it off for a week.
Yeah, even. Yeah.
You know, to give people a decisive enough time to go, all right, this is the case. And then even if it does get review bombed at the end of the week because people are being shitty, then at least there'll be a decent amount of reviews where people actually did play the goddamn game to offset the balance.
So I've just gone to Metacritic now, and currently Paper Mario, obviously the user reviews are open, and it's currently at a 6.7, whereas the critic review is at a 81. So there's a person here, so it's Lunchbox33. They gave it a 6, and the person that they say, pros, good adventure game, beautiful game, creative fight mechanic, cool boss fights, cons, not an RPG. And then he says the whole fighting mechanic is completely useless, and he says hole as in like a hole you go and dig. Partners, if you can really call them that, are pretty much useless. The first part is horribly slow and painful. So, you know, everyone's got their own opinion. He's entitled to his own opinion. But just saying not an RPG, it's just like, all right, don't say it's a shit game because of what it's not.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Then there's a lot of other 10s here. So it's either bad or it's good with user reviews. So you know, they're already like not a very useful thing.
No.
But at least they can maybe be a little bit more useful with sort of this implementation from Metacritic.
And like, you know, sort of going back on it, a lot of these people have derivative opinions from previous entries of it. You know, and I'm kind of just like, just think about it for a sec.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, if there's anyone out there listening who's like, I love 1,000-year-old door. It's I can't talk either, bro.
1,000-year-old door.
Oh man, I can't talk. But anyway, you know what I mean. If you really love that game and you don't enjoy this game as much because it is missing the core element from that game, that's fine.
Yeah, that's nostalgia.
But it doesn't necessarily make this game bad either.
No, it doesn't. Absolutely not.
And if it is bad, it's because of its own merits.
I feel like it is a very stylized RPG in its own right and respective. And I feel like Sticker Star and Color Splash probably tried to achieve that as well, but just didn't. You know, whereas I think this does it a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, at the end of the day, it is still technically an RPG in branding, but I think people get way too stuck to the idea of an RPG as something you level up and grind in, and you know, waste a lot of time basically defeating trash. Which, you know, you can waste a lot of time defeating trash in Paper Mario.
Just be very rich.
Well, yeah, that's right. You just be very rich. It doesn't actually affect like how difficult your next battle is going to be in an artificial way.
Yeah,
you know. So yeah,
which, you know, I might finish the game and I might be like, hey, tell you what. It's actually better they took it out. Who knows?
Yeah. And I feel like it probably could go that way because it would make the experience less about grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same for everyone type of thing.
Yeah. I'm a big RPG nut. Like I play a shit ton of them. And I don't necessarily think that this is damaging to the game. I do feel like it takes out a little bit of aspect element, not having so many unique party members and stuff like that, which RPGs are typically known for. But as for like the leveling and stuff like that, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah.
So next up is, this is actually pretty cool. I don't know if you've seen it, Bryce, but Super Mario 64 on PC has a new, I guess, a 4K texture patch. And this is like a port basically made by the community of people over there. And it's just, they're doing really cool work. So basically what they've done is they've redrawn Super Mario 64 and made it 4K, and it's just like widescreen. It looks absolutely excellent. It looks awesome,
gorgeous.
And like we're talking about sort of the port coming to, or hopefully maybe coming to Switch with some of the Mario games. This is exactly what I'd want from Nintendo on Switch. To be honest,
won't happen though.
Yeah, probably not. But it's just like
4K.
Oh well, it doesn't have to be 4K. It doesn't have to be 4K, but just widescreen. Support and like maybe like a bit of a fixed camera, so it's not just button inputs; it's actually more of the stick.
Yep.
I'd really enjoy that.
Or at least just transition it so the controls actually support proper camera control.
Yeah.
With the right stick. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it looks absolutely fantastic. I just wanted to shine some light on it because a lot of people wouldn't necessarily know this exists. But yeah, go and check it out. Yeah. If you want to go and have a look, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a random one, Bryce. So there's no news story for this, but over the last week, we all know Filip Muchin, who got fired from IGN because of his plagiarism on his Dead Cells review.
And it's not even just that though, and I think that's
obviously it came out a lot more that he plagiarized pretty much everything he did for his written content at IGN, and it was a big shock for the Nintendo community because Nintendo Voice Chat is probably the biggest Nintendo podcast out there. A lot of people listen to it, including myself. And he was one of the last sort of platform agnostic editors there. And when he got fired, they just didn't replace it with another Nintendo editor. And we've heard stories since that people were applying for the job and almost got it and obviously didn't get it over him. And it's just a pretty sad and shitty situation, really.
Yeah.
And since then, he's put out an apology video, and it's like, oh yeah, whatever, you're lying. Then like months later, he released another one saying, all right, no, this is the honest truth, and saying how sorry he was and all of that. And I think like what he did was real shit, but I don't think it's not one of those things where it's like you can never ever ever redeem yourself, because I think you can. It's just up to the individual to sort of think for themselves whether they want to support you if you come back.
I know you're gonna play the clip.
I'm gonna play the clip
because you did announce before the show, and I'm assuming that you're actually grabbing it from Dylan Blight's Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to just address the fact that actually no, play the clip first.
So let's play the clip. So this is the first 30 seconds of the review, and it's gonna sort of set the tone for the discussion. So yeah.
What's going on, everyone? Today, we're going to be taking a look at Dead Cells. When it comes to modern roguelike games, Dead Cells is on a whole other level of good. In fact, it's so good that the first time I tried reviewing it, it left me so speechless that I literally went looking for someone else's opinion to describe it.
Filip Muchin.
Filip Muchin.
Filip Muchin.
Filip Muchin.
I mean, this game played such a pivotal role in the self-destruction of my career as a games journalist, by my own doings, of course, but I'm still coming back to it almost 2 years later because it's just that damn good. What's going on, everyone?
Okay. So just like he's coming back, like this video is obviously to try and fight the demons in his head because, like, you can imagine, like, regardless of how in the wrong he was, this would be absolutely awful on his mental health. And this is him sort of coming back and like, all right, I'm going to try and redeem what I did wrong with my own unique review, and I'm going to try and move on and continue creating content and doing reviews. But coming in and saying, like, just that line where he says,
It was so good that I could not form my own opinion about it.
Why did he say that?
Because he's an idiot.
That
and
is
it's not the only game he did it to. He did it to many games. He went around to other people's reviews. Even somebody commented on that post. I'm not sure if it was Dylan's or the person that he retweeted, where it was like, it was some other guy, where somebody commented in the thing. He's like, Philip literally stole parts of my review from me when I was working at Mashable at the time, and it wasn't even Dead Cells. It was like something completely different. He'd just become notorious for it because people started poking holes in everything. So for him to say, "Oh, it's so good that it couldn't even form my own opinion," it's like, man, no, you were lazy and you stole a lot of words.
yeah,
A lot of them. For you to come back and say this is pretty much just shitting on and insulting everything that you said before, trying to apologize. And even then, like, people didn't think you were that apologetic about it anyway.
yeah, it's just like to do a review and say, all right, I'm going to correct my ways. I'm going to try and correct my ways and move forward in life, whether it's doing more stuff on YouTube or whatever else. I just got to get this out of my head. But to come out and say, oh man, this game's so good, and it's so good, but I just had to go and look at what other people were saying how good it was. It's like, you could just say, this game is fucking sick. It's a great roguelike game with great gameplay, and the DLC they've been adding is fantastic, and go and buy this game. I don't see why you need to go and rip off someone else's review to say that.
There is no such thing as a review where you can't form your own opinion, because that is your job, is to form your own opinion.
Yeah, that's
Right.
literally your job.
That is literally your job.
Paid by IGN, the biggest video game site out there,
Yeah, paid to do that.
to be like the exclusive Nintendo editor, which is a job position many people would have loved to have.
If you want to read other people's reviews and just be like, trying to wrap your head around things, sure, okay, fine, fair enough. And, sort of give you a bit more of your own logical insight, then fine. But you literally plagiarized.
Yeah.
Literally, down to a T.
Yeah, paragraphs.
Yeah. Exactly. And people picked it. People picked holes in it. And then they picked holes in your old reviews. And then they picked holes in your older reviews. Jesus Christ. But why? Why would you say something like that? Again, two apology videos. You shat all over them with that one sentence. Ridiculous. If you're going to own up to your mistake and you want to review Dead Cells and you're going to own up to your mistake, you're not going to start by saying, I literally could not form my own opinion because of how good it is. Because if you really paid attention to the game, you wouldn't have had to plagiarize work.
He ends the review to go on to say, like, pretty much, I hope you can forgive me and, continue supporting me, because it sounds like he's going to continue doing more reviews. He's getting back into doing reviews. That's what this one was saying. He basically wants to correct his ways and move on, doing more game content, more reviews.
And people are going to watch him like a hawk.
Oh, they should. Even if he says probably
I'll
something,
never do it again, I promise.
even if he says like, oh, this game's great. It's like, I said this game was great. You plagiarizing bastard. Yeah.
They will watch him like a hawk, because now he's earned himself the reputation, and he fucked up a position that a lot of people would have loved to do. And I think that was the most disappointing, is seeing the amount of hard working and genuine people who were in the industry at the time who really wanted that job. And then they gave it to a semi-influencer so that, you know, I guess it would just generate more revenue, more clout, whatever it may be. I don't know at the time. And then all these people that do put in the hard yards and write genuine things and whatever, they got shot down for that. And then he just ended up plagiarizing everything.
Yeah. I just want to put out there, like, a lot of the comments were like pretty vile towards him. Like,
I'm not
you know,
saying they weren't.
like I do think that's not on. He's not a pedophile. He's not any of these other awful things.
No, you shouldn't wish death upon them.
No, like, you know, he plagiarized a review. Like, you know, that is a shit thing in this industry to do to your colleagues, to your friends, but it's not any of these other things where it's just you'll never come back from it.
No.
And like he can do a Dead Cell review. He can do other reviews. You know, think about whether you want to support that, because do I want to be getting if I'm like, oh, there's this indie game that looks good, I write a review and it comes up with a review from Filip Muchin. I'm like, well, you know, he doesn't really have any thoughts of his own. What's the point of even reading that? It's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he can do what he wants, I guess. But yeah, just I know like a lot of people we talk to are just gonna be like, yeah, just don't even acknowledge him.
No. And like, don't get me wrong. The only reason I'm acknowledging him now is because he has the gall to say something like that when it's been very clearly insulting to many people that he's just ripped completely out of their work and put it in his own. And it went unnoticed for a long time until somebody finally called him out on it and just said, you just straight up plagiarized me, bro. This is something I wrote like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, especially when it's like a channel with like, I don't know, say 5,000 subscribers. Yeah. It's literally being plagiarized by IGN. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
You got like 1 million views on this sucker. Like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely ruined.
No. And just to wrap it up, if anyone out there who's like, Drew, why are you even bringing this up? Why are you giving him, like, why are you even giving this man air? It's because it affects Nintendo community. And it's, you know,
that's right.
It affected us back then and it's something that's happened now. So we need to acknowledge it and, you know, move on.
And he needs to be called out for that mistake.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if he does want to continue making content, we are going to have to see him pop it. Because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, he just made the mistake, you know, it's time to move on. It's like, no, it's not really time to move on, because the people he plagiarized from never got paid for their work. You know, that's their money that they technically earned for doing his work for him. And he got the payout for it. So unfortunately, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't come down to just a simple mistake. He needs to realize that what he's done is terrible. And the way he's sounding right now does not sound like he understands the gravity of the situation of what he's done. He's taken the hard work from hardworking and genuine people, and use it in his own thing. And now he's just like, I had to go looking for other people so I could form an opinion.
I think what makes it hurt even more is we've heard stories from friends that basically the person who was next up in line to get that job was someone who was local in the Australian community.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, that sucks, because I would have much rather heard from them each week on the Nintendo voice chat. In the Nintendo voice chat, like, I remember when he was hosting, it was like he would like move on to another story or something. He's like, oh, this is super exciting. Like, it's just like the next level thing. And it'd just be like absolutely nothing. I think Zach on that podcast even said, like, is it that exciting? Like, he's just overreacting to everything. Like, he didn't really know what he was talking about.
Yeah. No, that's right.
I know some people might say that with me too, but I don't know.
It's clear that he spent a lot of his time actually just sitting there and
seeing what's going on, other people saying.
Yeah, see what other people are saying and then forming an opinion around it, when at the end of the day, his job was to form his own opinion.
Yeah.
And
like for this episode, I haven't even gone to see another Paper Mario review. I haven't either. I know how it's going on Metacritic.
I'm writing one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
That's what I'm going on about.
You're going to go and copy and paste it from Filip?
No, absolutely not. I'm not going to go and copy and paste it from anyone, because at the end of the day, I do want to sit down and I want to get my thoughts out on paper, because that's what I find enjoyable about doing it.
Especially when you're using your free time to do it.
And I'm not even I'm not getting paid for it. I got given the game code to do the review. You know, I'm not getting cash. I'm not getting anything like that. I've been given the game to review as more of like a fairness courtesy for my time. And then I will go and review it and put it out there into the world. You know, I play, you know, a huge portions of the game all the way up to the end, you know, and then I sit down and I spend the next it could be anywhere from 3 to 10 hours, depending on how like solidified I feel with my journey with the game, and then put it on paper, put it out in the world.
Yep.
Because there's no time to sit there and reading other people's reviews and what they think about the game when I'm kind of like, do I really feel that way about this game? Like, there's no time for that.
How do I feel about the battle system? Was it good? Was it bad?
Maybe I should ask someone else or read their reviews. But, you know, I don't have that kind of time. Like, the deadline we typically get set is about a week, which I think is fair. You know, if I play a bit each day, then eventually I'm going to come to a conglomerate time where I'm like, that's enough. And, you know, in some cases, like, that could be like all the way directly at the end, past the final boss and in the end game, or that could just be like close enough to the end that you're like, all right, you know, if I finish this, I don't want to get too spoilerific, and I feel like I could do that. It really depends on like how far I can get through in that time frame. But, you know, in the case of Paper Mario, I definitely will get to the end. I think like I'm going pretty fast about it, and I think it's just sort of a case of like I'll get to Thursday and that's my writing time. You know, I'll finish work for the day. I'll finish off a bit more of Paper Mario. Start writing Thursday night. Start writing Friday during the day. Give it to Dash for the weekend. Dash puts it out on the weekend.
Cool.
You know, and that is how it's going to be. And I don't have the time to skim other people's opinions to form my own.
No, and with that review, he got lucky too, because he basically like ripped off the early access review of that game.
Yeah,
because like usually, like if IGN gets a game, they're getting it before anyone. So, but a lot of the games he reviewed, it was like Wolfenstein on Switch, etc., etc. So he could just like rip off other reviews and just say it also runs well or bad.
Yeah.
So that's how he sort of got away with it. But
yeah, that's all right.
Moving on from Philip, because you know
he's an asshole.
Yeah. Philip,
profiting off other people's work.
Yeah. Philip, I hope you go well.
Grow up
in another industry or whatever. But yeah,
grow up. You're not welcome.
Wow. So next up is a story from Vooks.net, and the title is "New Mario Sports Trademark Registered by Nintendo in Australia." So a new trademark filed by Nintendo has appeared in the IP Australian database for something simply called Mario Sports. The trademark was filed just last month, but would have only become public last week. The trademark, like most trademarks by Nintendo, is for electronic video game programs, downloadable electronic video game programs, downloadable video game programs, video game cartridges, the list goes on. So it just shows the trademark here. And I just thought I'd bring this up because it's half exciting because Mario Sports involves soccer, but it's also not exciting because that soccer game isn't Mario Strikers.
No.
And we know from the 3DS compilation, which is Mario Sports Mix, that it's cool that there's soccer, there's tennis, there's all these different games included in this one package, but each one's sort of just like bare bones and not interesting at all. So if it takes off, like if it's a similar game to that 3DS game, this is going to be like not exciting at all. But
backing up to my controversial Mario opinions from tweets that were circling around last week, Strikers and Hoops 3-on-3 were on par for me in terms of quality, and they were the two best Mario Sports games, even past golf and tennis. Despite the fact that I loved golf, I thought it was fantastic, and I played it a shit ton on the 64. And tennis is sort of neither here nor there for me. But
yeah,
they've only had one. Well, they've only had they've had a smaller amount of soccer games. They've had one basketball game, and that's pretty fucking depressing, honestly, because they're the best ones.
It would be awesome to have a Strikers. Like with We're going to say that until it happens. Like, we want Mario Strikers.
Hoops as well. I could kill for a hoops game.
It's funny
been
because
so long.
Camelot, obviously they finished Mario Tennis. The DLC has stopped now, so they're obviously fully onto a new game. A lot of people are expecting or hoping golf, because that is probably their best game. But the golf game's never really captured me, so I don't really care much about Mario Golf. So I'm in the Mario Strikers camp, where I'm like, I want Mario Strikers.
I like golf. Golf is fun, but I also like the erratic action and energy that comes from Strikers and from Hoops.
Yeah.
You know? And I miss that banger theme.
Oh, Mario Hoops 3 on 3. Holy shit. That character select string.
3. Oh.
Not doing it any justice, but yeah.
I love it. That should be the jukebox. What the hell?
Yeah, the jukebox at the moment is the museum theme from Paper Mario Origami King. It's a piano theme. It's quite good. So do you want to keep it as that, or?
Oh, I feel like I want to find Who's 3 on 3 mix now.
Oh, I'll try and find it in the meantime.
All right, you do that.
But we'll move on to the next article, which is also by Vooks.net. And Joker and Hero Smash Bros. Amiibo launch in September in Australia. Last month, during the reveal stream for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Last Fighter, Min Min for the win-win. God damn it. You made me read that, Vuk, you bastard. It was Oliver who wrote the story. So, Oliver, if you hear that you heard me read that, I am going to do nothing. Series director Sakurai also showed off 2 new Amiibo, one for Persona 5's Joker and the other for Dragon Quest XI's Hero. Now they have a release date. Nintendo Australia has today revealed that the Joker and Hero Amiibo will be releasing in Australia on the 25th of September, the same date as the launch in Japan. A week before North American gets the figures. They've also posted a short video showing the figures in a 360-degree view for anyone still on the fence about picking one up. And we saw these back in the Min Min Direct, but these look really good. I reckon I'll get the Joker one. The Joker one's really cool. Because I feel like once I play through Persona 5, I'll be like, man, I really want that Amiibo, but now it's not there anymore. So I'll preemptively pick up the Joker, I reckon.
It's definitely one of the better designed Amiibo in general.
What makes it is just like the blue flame for the stand.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
We've seen this in sort of more recent Amiibo, but like the first one with Link with like the yellow stand. It's like, why did you make the stand yellow? The stand up Link. It's just
it's yellow.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Why that color? Like you could have made it any color that isn't brown or yellow.
It's designer. It's chic. It's piss yellow.
Piss yellow.
Piss yellow.
It's delicious.
I love piss yellow.
But yeah, the blue flame looks really great as a stand, so I think that's what pretty much makes it.
Does, yeah.
And moving on to the last story, Bryce, this is from My Nintendo News, and this is just sales figures in the UK for Paper Mario, the Origami King. And the latest UK physical software charts are now available, and Paper Mario, the Origami King for Nintendo Switch had a decent launch and arrived at number 2 this week. It was nabbed to the post by Ghost of Tsushima for Sony's PlayStation 4. Paper Mario, the Origami King sales were bigger than the past 2 Paper Mario games combined. Paper Mario, the Origami King is now the fastest selling game in the Paper Mario, and is now the fastest selling Paper Mario game so far. So here's this week's charts. So the quote from the charts: Ghost of Tsushima's launch sales were 4 times bigger than the other new game in the charts, Paper Mario, the Origami King for Nintendo Switch. The comedy adventure game still reached number 2, and its first week sales are bigger than the launch of the past 2 Paper Mario games combined. And that is 2016's Paper Mario Color Splash on Wii U and 2012's Paper Mario Sticker Star on 3DS. In fact, the first... Jesus, what are you doing over there, Bryce?
Never mind.
Yeah, just having your own party over there. In fact, its first week sales narrowly beat 2007's Super Paper Mario on Nintendo Wii, making the new game the fastest selling Paper Mario game so far. In addition, download sales are not included. Super Paper Mario was not available digitally. Yes, it was. Oh, Super Paper Mario, for the Wii. And therefore, the Switch game is likely to have been comfortably bigger than its Wii predecessor. So interesting that the Sony's exclusive on the same day was 4 times the sales of Ghost of Tsushima, of Paper Mario in the UK. But I was talking to you earlier, Bryce, like, to be honest, it would be such a shame if Paper Mario outsold Ghost of Tsushima, just because Ghost of Tsushima, it got announced years ago.
Yeah.
and it's been
marketing out the arse.
Yeah, it's been marketing out the arse. It's just been really pushing. It's also on a platform with 110 install base, which is like double that the Switch has. So, and with Nintendo just coming out and go, all right, 3 months ago, here's a new Mario game. You know, it's not a mainline Mario game or
People
anything.
snatch that shit off the shelves. Yeah.
It would have been like a bit of a shame for the PlayStation fan out there or Sony themselves, but regardless, it's going really well.
It's had some pretty
Paper Mario.
divisive reviews, but like I'm genuinely interested in it anyway.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
I am too. It was when they announced Paper Mario, I'm like, oh, on the same day, serious? So, you know, Ghost of Tsushima gets pushed to the side, and I'll pick up that eventually because between then and PlayStation 5, I don't really have much coming from PlayStation Studios anyway, so plenty of time to play that.
Definitely looks dope. And
does,
I think the thing that's best about it is the prettiness of like, you know, the Japanese backdrop and stuff like that. And, you know, Japan's receiving it very well for a Western developed game, which is good. And there was that meme floating around for a little bit that's just like, hey, great job on your samurai game, says like Dark Souls. And then it's just like, thanks, great job on your medieval game. You know? Like, and I think that's great. And you know what? It just shows that like you can capture that cultural spirit. It doesn't matter where you're from. And I think both of them probably do a very good job at it. Like
Yeah, absolutely.
Dark Souls is well renowned. It's Japanese developed, but it really encroaches and like capitalizes on very, very well the sort of more medieval times aspect of whether it be like English or, you know, whatever culture. And then Ghost of Tsushima seems to do a pretty good job of that just for Japanese samurai type of Edo Japan type thing too, which is good.
Absolutely. I can't wait for it, man. I reckon it's going to be a lot of fun to jump into.
Yeah, for sure.
I think, but to be honest, I reckon it's a good thing that I am playing Paper Mario in between Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima. Just like, all right, just break it up a bit. A bit of colour.
Get some fun in you.
Get a bit of fun in me. So, oh, that speaker falling off the tree was hilarious. Now I'm ready for another serious game. So, Bryce, I got the Mario Hoops Round 3 character select here. Before we even get into the wrap-up, I'm going to make sure it's the right one.
All right, you do that.
Oh, it is. Delicious.
Oh, yeah. That's
All
beautiful.
right, let's save it. Let's go right back.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. I haven't heard that in years, man.
Oh, my God. I miss it so much.
All right, so just a shout out to who was going to be Nintendo Jukebox. It was by Nintendo Music, and it was a piano cover of the museum theme from Paper Mario, the Origami King.
It will more than likely still be used.
But we will use it another week.
Probably when we finish Paper Mario, I think.
I think this is just selfishly for me because I just want to hear this character select music. Because it was banging. Because I remember
banging.
I remember plugging my DS into computer speakers and like cranking it and just letting it play on the select screen.
Yeah.
It was that good.
Yeah, it's so good. Love it so much. Hoops was an amazing game, and I'm so sad they never really did a proper follow-up to it.
Make another basketball game, actually. Make another Mario basketball game.
Well, that's what I'm saying, yeah. I'm saying, like, if you're going to make Mario sports games, the next need to be strikers or hoops.
Because, like, on Switch, you can play NBA 2K. You can have it run at 15 frames and have microtransactions just falling out of it. Or you could play the game when you're playing as a cactus from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, or you could give hoops the treatment that strikers got in terms of, like, visual aspects and style and apply it to basketball. And then you've all of a sudden got your NBA Jam again.
Yeah.
But with Mario characters.
So, like, you can play like NBA Playgrounds on Switch, but
it's not the same.
Yeah, no, not the same.
No, like it needs to have its own sort of thing, and I feel like they've substituted by offering Mario stuff in NBA Playgrounds for this, but it's not the same. And Hoops 3-on-3 was an entirely underrated gem. I love pulling off special moves in that game. Pulling off the friggin' pentagram on touch twice, or was it 3 times? I can't remember. Was so goddamn satisfying to do.
It was. That was one of the games that really scratched up your DS's touchscreen.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
You
just like...
And like you had no visual indicator, so you had to be really good at being super fast at it, but at the same time, like pulling off the shape so that it actually registers it properly. And it was really satisfying to do.
Yeah. The also thing about that game is it was freaking hard.
It was hard. Yeah, especially the last couple of matches against the Final Fantasy crew were difficult.
I'm just thinking about it now. That game was actually made by Square Enix, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's another thing, which is like, it just reminded me so much about this game.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why they had White Mage, Black Mage.
Yeah, that's why they had the...
White Mage, Black Mage, Ninja, and Cactua.
Yeah, Cactua.
And Moogle. So they have 5 characters from Final Fantasy.
Yeah, because back then, like, I had actually no idea what Final Fantasy was. Like, or not was, but like didn't really know much about it.
Yeah.
And seeing Cactuar, I'm like, I love that character.
Yeah. Cactuar's great. Yeah.
Just cool. Yeah. So I think that wraps it up, Bryce.
Beautiful.
And just before we wrap up, I do want to just point out that the Rodecaster saved this episode. It actually stopped recording on the computer for whatever reason at 28 minutes.
Ooh.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the Rodecaster saved episode 151 of this episode. So, thank Rode.
Beautiful.
Thank you. That's what this new technology can do for us. It can save fuck ups.
Beautiful.
So, really good. Thank you, Rodecaster.
Thank you, Rode.
Everyone, clap for the Rodecaster in your own time. Ooh, look at that little clap on the gut.
It's great, isn't it?
So, everybody, thank you very much for listening to the House of Mario, episode 151. If you enjoy the show, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or your podcast service of choice. You can follow me on Twitter at iDruby. You can follow the show at the House of Mario. You can follow Bryce at IVRevan. And like we said earlier in the show, share us on your social media, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Twitter, whatever it is. It will really help us out. Really help us out. So thank you very much. And just before we go on, we've got some brand new Patreon producers, which we really want to thank from the bottom of our heart. So thank you very much to Sam Hay, DJ, and Luke, the Bubbly Lemonade. We talked before, like, should I say Luke? Should I say Lemonade? Or should I say Levid? And I thought we'll combine two of them, Luke, the Bubbly Lemonade. So Luke, if you hate that, let us know. We won't say it ever again. But thank you, Tree, for joining us on Patreon at the podcast producer level. Really means a lot to us.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
And we can keep powering on and doing our thing.
Hell yeah.
So, Bryce, as everyone is well aware, this week's Nintendo Jukebox is Mario Hoops 3-on-3 character select. And this might actually be like the first just like in-game music that we've done.
A while. For a while.
Yeah, but we don't need a remix for this one. This one is banging as it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, everybody, thank you very much for listening to the House of Mario. And until next week, the doors are closed. Catch you later.
Bye.
We are